Well, damn, y'all. Breaking news today, if you guys haven't heard already, man, Ben Johnson is taking his sorry ass talents over there to Chicago and becoming the next head coach for the Bears, leaving the Raiders kind of like what to do now, right? And now the Raiders have to shift to a plan B. Of course, we already know that Ben Johnson was the favorite for a lot of people. Everybody thought that he was going to come over here. I even said that, there was an understanding that he was going to be the next head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, but it was entirely up to Ben Johnson on whether or not he wanted to come over here. I think that Tom Brady, I think that Mark Davis had a good point, made some good points for him to come over here. And I know that they had a really great interview and both sides left really happy. But at the end of the day, money wasn't the problem. Cap space wasn't the problem. Bringing in your own GM wasn't the problem. But at the end of the day, it just seems like Ben Johnson possibly just wanted to go and coach a team that had a franchise quarterback already. Because right now, the Raiders have no franchise quarterback. We're stuck with AOC and Gardner Minshew as of right now. And it is what it is, man. And it's crazy because today, I know I kind of went live right before this video, but before that, I actually worked all morning on a pretty cool video talking about Lance Newmark, Commander's assistant GM and former Lions, worked with the Lions before and had a connection with Ben Johnson. And I thought that would be a perfect dream team right there to bring over here to Las Vegas. Ben Johnson as the head coach and Lance Newmark as the GM. I felt like that would have been a perfect pairing. But of course, we know that Ben Johnson will not be coming to the Las Vegas Raiders, and it's okay, y'all. I think a lot of people are really shocked, which is understandable, but to feel down or to feel like everything's hopeless now is kind of crazy, because I still feel like there's a lot of great candidates out there to come over here and coach the Las Vegas Raiders. It's just whether or not the Raiders make the right decision on bringing in the next guy. And it seems like Pete Carroll is the favorite to becoming the next head coach for the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, according to Sean Reed, he tweeted this out not too long ago, saying that with Ben Johnson headed to the Bears, the Raiders have to turn to plan B at head coach. The sense is that Pete Carroll is now their top option, but other candidates include Aaron Glenn, Todd Monken, Robert Saleh, Ron Rivera, Steve Spagnuolo, and Vance Joseph. Now, there's a lot of names in there with a lot of experience, and that's one thing that I've told you guys a lot, is that I really want a head coach with a lot of experience, especially with a winning franchise. And one guy that was really on top of my list, and I've talked about it in all of my videos, has been Pete Carroll. Aside of Ben Johnson, I just really like the idea of bringing Pete Carroll over here. I know that a lot of people might be worried about his age and whatnot, but I still feel like he can still run a team, still be a leader of a team, and still bring in a young offensive coordinator or somebody, who knows, maybe a Cliff Kingsbury if he's not able to get a head coaching position. Bring in Cliff Kingsbury to be an offensive coordinator and take over after 2 to 3 years. Let Pete Carroll kind of mold this team into giving it over to his successor. So that's the direction that I want to go in right now. I know some other names that are really favorited right now is Liam Cohen from the Buccaneers, and he's done a great job over there doing his thing. And looking at the GMs, my two favorite GMs to bring in, right now the favorite to be the GM is John Spytek. But if you bring in John Spytek and you bring in Liam Cohen, two people from the Buccaneers that have relationships with Tom Brady, that could actually be a good pairing as well. So to think that the Raiders' hopes are over is a little bit too far-fetched for me, because there's still a lot of great candidates. Todd Monken is another name that is really going under the radar right now. His relationship with Brock Bowers, coaching him back at Georgia, also being a great offense coordinator over there with the Ravens, doing a great job over there. I think his name should be definitely taken seriously moving forward. And then you got guys like Robert Saleh, Ron Rivera, who I'm not really high on. And then there's also been talks about Mike McCarthy possibly coming over here. It's just kind of crazy because there's so many different directions to go in. But one of the main reasons why I really love Pete Carroll, not only just because he's the most experienced, but the fact that he's a culture builder, man. He builds winning coaches no matter where he goes. He coached over there with USC, built a culture over there, a really great winning culture over there. Then he went to the Seattle Seahawks, took over that team and made them into a Super Bowl winner, and even took them back to the Super Bowl, even though he made dumb decision not to run it on the 1 yard line. But outside of that, the Seahawks have become a prominent franchise in the NFL, at least a team that could get to the playoffs. He's also a great locker room leader. And then you could renew that rivalry with him and Jim Harbaugh here in the AFC West, because you got to look at the AFC West. This is a division with not only a lot of winners, but you got veteran head coaches with a lot of experience. You got Andy Reid with the Chiefs, you got Jim Harbaugh with the Chargers, and then you got Sean Payton with the Broncos. The Raiders were stuck with a first-time head coach, and that was one reason why I was kind of shy with going with Ben Johnson at first. Now, I know Ben Johnson, he has all the accolades to be great, but then also he could be the next Josh McDaniels. You just never know. Even though I did find it surprising that he would choose Caleb Williams and the Bears over us, the Raiders' job is still a job that any coach would love to come in and coach up. I mean, we have all the pieces in place to build the team that they want to build, implement the system that you want to run over here. You got all the cap space you can ever ask for going into free agency. Then you also have some really high draft capital. We have the 6th pick in the NFL draft. We got 4 picks in the first 3 rounds. And if the Raiders want to go and get a quarterback in the draft, they can. If they want to go get a quarterback in free agency, they can. They could go and bring in a veteran quarterback, and they could also draft a quarterback and have somebody sit behind. And if there's something that Pete Carroll can do well, is use young talent and really develop a quarterback. Look at Russell Wilson with the Seattle Seahawks. He wasn't expected to play coming out of his rookie season, but he outplayed Matt Flynn, and he was able to take over the starting position and turn that whole franchise around. Who knows if he can do that over here in Las Vegas, but I'd rather take a chance at that, especially with the coach that has done it before, many times before, than somebody that we're just hoping that could be the next Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan. Now, another name to really look out for is one Cliff Kingsbury, but also pairing him up with, assistant GM Lance Newmark. They both are with the Commanders, and they could both probably shift and be a tandem and come over here to Las Vegas. So you could either have, Cliff Kingsbury, Lance Newmark, or you could have John Spytek and Liam Cohen. The opportunities are endless. Now, I understand that looking at the situation right now, a lot of people can question the reason why the Raiders fired, Tom Telesco, if they didn't already think that, Ben Johnson was going to come in. And one of the main reasons why they did fire him was because they wanted to give Ben Johnson that opportunity to go and handpick his GM. But I guess it wasn't good enough. Then again, you could also go back and revert to the fact that Tom Brady wants to start with a clean slate. And Tom Brady and Mark Davis, they're definitely going to have their work cut out for them this offseason. And that starts with getting the next head coach and getting the next GM for this team. I think it's just obvious right now that this move really shocked not only the whole NFL, but shocked the Raiders locker room and the Raiders front office. Because I really do think that Mark Davis and Tom Brady, that was their option. That was their number one option. But like I said before, I don't think it's over. I think that we just got to go and turn to plan B. I think it kind of sucks because the Raiders always seem to turn to plan B and it never works out. But I'm just going to have a lot of trust in this front office. I'm going to have a lot of trust in Tom Brady. I'm going to have a lot of trust in Mark Davis. And I'm just hoping that we turn things around next season, because that's all we can do right now is just hope. And if Pete Carroll was to be the next guy to come over here, I know I've joked about it a little bit before, but possibly bringing in Russell Wilson to reunite with Pete Carroll could be something out there. Not saying that'll actually happen, but it's something that could be done. And then you could possibly bring in a successor for that veteran quarterback. If it was Russell Wilson, get somebody in a draft, whether it's Jackson Dart, Jalen Moreau, any of these other guys to possibly take over after a couple of years. Being a Raider fan is hard though, but you know what? I ain't gonna give up hope, y'all. I ain't gonna give up hope. So with that said though, Raider Nation, who is your favorite candidate to be the next head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders? And would you be okay with Pete Carroll taking over as the head coach? Or is there somebody else that you would rather have? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. But if this is the very first time you guys are coming across the channel and you love Raider news and daily videos, man, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification icon button just to notify you guys when I upload more videos just like this. We are close to 45K, Raider Nation. I appreciate y'all. And until the next one, this is your boy, and we are